Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio today with Tony Finn and Bryan Leonard. This is our continuing series of our Sports Betting 101 videos. Today, we're going to talk about what is a middle. Tony, we have all these different terms in betting, and a lot of people are coming to the stage now. They're new to sports betting, and they hear us talk about this stuff, but they really don't understand what we're talking about. We say there's middle opportunities all the time. Tell our viewers what a middle is.
A middle is essentially, if you're in football, football is a great example. Key number being a 3. Early in the week, you might be able to get the team that you like minus 2.5. And there may be enough action on the opposite side that moves that number to a 3.5, and you can get your team plus 3.5, and you have a middle if it lands on that 3.
Absolutely. And Bryan, we know that there are a lot of people in town. We call them advantage players. They look for the numbers to find these situations, and they will take those middles, and they'll do it on, they might have 30 games on a weekend. We know our buddy Chris and they have a lot of games, and a lot of times they'll get situations later in the week. You have to have the outs, but tell us the timetable, basically how the sharps do this and how they get to that situation to find that middle. We always talk about sharps don't play teams, they play numbers. This is the perfect example.
The middles remind me of the stock market. They always say, buy low, sell high. So what you want to do, if you're able to read the market, and not everybody's able to do this, but if you're able to read the market, you would start the week, and as Tony pointed out, if you can get a 2.5 on a game you think is going to be lined at 3 or higher, I know guys who just will blindly, they'll be 2.5s at like 2 different casinos, they're the only 2 left. They will blindly get that 2.5 just to figure out what they want to do later on in the week, knowing that that 2.5 is no longer going to be there. So that's one of the things you get early. The guys come in early, they either take, and he talked about key numbers 3, whatever, 7, 6, 4, whatever we're talking about in the NFL. If a line comes out at plus 7.5, you think it's going to go lower, they would take the plus 7.5, knowing it's going to go down to 7, possibly 6.5, and then you can come back and play the middle on the other. It always just sets you up. Basically, if you're you want to be ahead of the closing line. You can base your win percentage and how good of a handicapper you are on the closing line. So if you lay a game at minus 2.5 and the line closes at 3.5, you're beating the closing line, which means if you do that on a consistent basis, you will win more, as opposed to the other person who's laying the 3.5 on a Sunday afternoon because that's the only thing they can bet. They're playing into a 50-50 proposition.
Good stuff. And Bryan, when we talk about these middles, it's a situation where you're going to bet early in the week, as you said, the key numbers. Where they do this a lot is when those first totals come out. College football totals, that is probably the most volatile market of any college basketball. Those two. Because you could see from the opening numbers to where we get to game day, there's times of 6 and 7 point differences in some of these games. Now, with the middle situations in the guys that are they going for a 50-50 middle, or they're going to stack it a little bit to the side that they favor so that, to cover their juice, so to speak?
It's all math, basically. If you're playing over 47 and the line goes up to 51, well, the current line, the market line is a 51, meaning if you're playing 51, that's a 50-50 proposition. But if you played over 47, that's a lot better bet when you're looking at win percentage. So for myself, I would just stick with the over 47, but some guys go into it knowing where the line's going, and they want to secure themselves a win, a profitable situation. So they may play a little bit back, but it would be lesser if they're playing the market number.
All right, good stuff, guys. Hey, don't forget, guys, when you buy a 5% play, that's our top-rated play at WagerTalk and Bo Sports Memo. We don't have games of the year, but our 5% plays, the highest-rated ones, we put our money where our mouth is. We give you a 150% guarantee. Every time you buy a 5% play for $30, if that play does not win, we will put in wager bucks in your account 150% in there. So a $30 play, you're going to get a $45 credit in your account to use for future service for that capper if he loses that play. We stand behind our picks here at WagerTalk. We'll be back with more at WagerTalk TV.